My wife wants to abort our kid just to carry on the family line of her first love. My mom literally knelt down, begging her, and what did she get in return? A scolding. Adrian only had one request before he died. Why can't you just honor it? You're so damn selfish. Mom was so shocked and hurt that she had a heart attack and passed away, resentment written all over her final moments. And my wife? She skipped my mom's funeral like it was nothing and went straight for the surgery. Alone. And of course, she posted it on social media beforehand. I will paint your dream. I have no regrets in this life, for you and for myself. I left a cold comment. Since you love him so much, why not just be a family with him? Then I blocked Melissa and went to the cemetery holding my mom's ashes. Before the ceremony was over, Melissa's dad called, voice full of anger and blame. Ethan, it's not Melissa's fault the kid didn't develop. You made her go for surgery alone, and you've been MIA since she was hospitalized. Is that how a decent person behaves? Melissa really went all out. She not only secretly aborted the child but twisted facts to smear me. I took a deep breath, forcing down the rage. Tell Melissa I already have a lawyer drawing up the divorce papers. The lawyer will personally deliver them to the hospital. Melissa snatched the phone and yelled, sobbing, this is about the inheritance of a family's bloodline. Can't you be more magnanimous? I almost laughed. Yeah, the biggest joke ever. When she aborted my kid, did she even think about the family line? Or remember the tiny clothes Mom painstakingly knitted for the baby? But I was too drained to argue. I just said, cool as ice. If you have objections to the agreement, talk to my lawyer. I'll come back to handle the formalities after you sign. And call. Didn't even care to hear her response. After my mom was laid to rest, I packed my bags and flew to Riverside. Over the years, I gave up so much for Melissa, my career, friends, relatives. She couldn't stand being apart, so I even gave up a promotion I'd fought tooth and nail for. Didn't like my friends? Slowly cut them off. Didn't get along with my mom? Sent her back to our hometown. In this marriage, she ruled like a tyrant, devouring my emotions with zero shame. Losing the child was like a cold blade slicing the bond in my chest. From that moment, I decided I'd live for myself. In Riverside, I dove into work. Set up the new company from scratch with HR, built a team, and now it's over 20 strong, pulling in millions. The grind rekindled my passion. Turns out life without Melissa's chains is freaking free and full of possibilities. Meanwhile, I kept on my lawyer, who tried repeatedly to hand Melissa the divorce papers. She dodged every single time, making up excuses. I was ready for a long fight, so I asked the lawyer to file the divorce application with the court. 2 months later, I flew back to Clearwater for the court session. On the way, a friend sent me a screenshot of Melissa's social media post. Even if the world doesn't understand, I will still cling to my original intention. The picture? Adrian holding flowers with Melissa. If it were before, I'd be white-hot, face pale, ready to blow up at her. But now? Never. Treated it like some random joke online. Didn't even care. It was late when I got home. Melissa was on the sofa, arms crossed, red-eyed. Ethan, how dare you block me? And why'd you disappear from Clearwater for 2 months without a word? Do I need to report to you when I block someone or go somewhere? Why are you even looking for me? Just getting in the way of my love affair with Adrian? I replied, deadpan. Blocking her was nothing compared to what I endured before. I dragged in my suitcase and spotted the red roses Adrian gave her, obnoxiously placed on the dining table. Nice roses, but don't put them in my house. Mom just passed. Keep it simple. Melissa went pale, finally realizing Mom died because of her selfish anger. I glanced at her, cold as ice. Go to bed early. Court's early tomorrow. She frowned, incredulous. Do you really have to go this far? I promise, after Adrienne's child is born, I'll have one for you. I just had surgery. Why divorce now? Was all your previous love just an act? Her logic was always twisted. The kid in her belly? Disposable. Her decision? Absolute. She seemed to forget Mom had only a year to live, fighting through chemo just to see that child. And Melissa? Brutally cut that hope off. I laughed mockingly. Did I tell you to have the surgery? You're practically making out with Adrian. Do you think I'd want you? I don't think you're dirty. I think you're disgusting. The main reason Mom died? She found out Melissa planned to have a kid for Adrian naturally. Melissa blinked in disbelief. Haven't you gotten it after a year of prep? Natural conception is best. I only did it once or twice. Why you gotta make a big deal? I laughed, blood boiling. Divorce, 100%. Doesn't matter if I care. Solve it tomorrow. You can have all the kids Adrian wants. Tonight? I'm in the guest room. Melissa's eyes went wide. She pointed at me, voice sharp. You said that, Ethan. Don't regret it. Next morning? I open my eyes. Melissa's in my bed, wearing revealing clothes, looking all cutesy. If you mind natural conception, we can do artificial insemination. Kid's still yours. I felt sick. Ran to the bathroom, retching. After cleaning up, she brought breakfast, all neatly arranged, grinning like nothing happened. Made this for you. Have a taste. 7 years together, and I finally got up early for you. Back then, I would have probably cried my eyes out. But her obvious flattery just pissed me off. I turned away from her, walked straight into the kitchen, and made myself a cup of instant noodles. Melissa looked at me like I'd stabbed her in the heart, her voice choking up. I've already lowered myself. What more do you want from me? I shot her a cold look. I just want a divorce. Melissa snapped. She tossed the breakfast she was holding straight into the trash and ran back into the bedroom, crying her eyes out. In the past, I would have followed her in, coaxing her like some loyal servant. This time, I didn't even feel like moving. After wolfing down my breakfast, I went to the cemetery to visit my mother, then headed straight to court. Before the hearing, I planned to settle everything once and for all, then go back to Riverside and work in peace. But I never expected Melissa to pull a diagnosis report out of nowhere, proving she was pregnant, and submit it to the judge. Using that, she rejected my divorce request. I was so damn angry at her shamelessness that my teeth clenched. In front of everyone, I bluntly stated that the child wasn't mine and reapplied for divorce. Melissa immediately submitted a video. In the video, she looked at me with disappointment written all over her face. Ethan, just a month ago, you and I were still intimate at home. Why are you saying the child isn't yours? Do you really hate me that much? Are you really going to do anything just to divorce me and drag my name through the mud? Her tone and expression made it look like I was some heartless villain. The man in the video did look about 7 or 8 parts like me out of 10, but I knew damn well it wasn't me. I was completely speechless. In the end, the judge rejected my divorce application again on the grounds that the woman was pregnant. Before I could even leave the courthouse, Melissa blocked me in the parking lot. Ethan, if you're not coming home, where are you going? I'm pregnant. I need you to take care of me. I was already in a foul mood, and her words lit the fuse. I stared at her, anger burning hot in my chest. Melissa, do you think I'm some kind of idiot? What the hell does your pregnancy have to do with me? Go find Adrian to take care of you. Her face turned ghost white instantly. You? How can you say something like that? I just want you to stay by my side, care about me and look after me. Looking at her self-righteous face, I almost laughed. She still thought one soft sentence would make me fall back at her feet. God, she was naive. I remembered how, 2 months ago, I had knelt in front of her, begging her to keep our child, how decisively she had refused me. And now she thought I'd change just because of a few words. Ridiculous. Melissa, I sneered, do you really think I'm still the same guy I was 2 months ago? I leaned in coldly. Did you forget? You killed our child. You drove my mother to her death. How do you even have the nerve to ask anything of me? Do you seriously think you still deserve it? Her face twisted instantly. She stared at me wide-eyed, like she couldn't believe I'd said it. I sneered in disdain, turned around, and walked away without another glance. All my plans were blown to hell. I had no choice but to return to Riverside early and keep working. A week later, the receptionist led Melissa into my office. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I seriously thought I was seeing a ghost. Melissa? How did you get here? She smiled, a hint of playfulness flashing across her face, waving the lunchbox in her hand. I was worried you wouldn't eat properly, so I came to take care of you. Surprise? She used to pull stuff like this sometimes. Back then, I adored that playful smile and thought loving her for a lifetime still wouldn't be enough. But ever since Adrian came back, I'd never seen that smile, or those surprises, again. Now, seeing that familiar playfulness only sent a chill down my spine. Nausea and anger surged up. I clenched my teeth and snapped, "Are you addicted to acting or what? You think playing the good wife and loving mom is gonna move me?" I pointed straight at her belly, my eyes cold enough to tear her apart. "Focus on your prenatal care. Don't bring food to me with that bastard in your stomach. Even if you're not disgusted, I am." She looked like she'd been stabbed. Pain and confusion flickered in her eyes. "As your wife, what's wrong with bringing you food? Why are you treating me like this?" I stared at her seriously and asked, word by word, "Melissa, what do you actually want?" She stepped closer, tugging at my sleeve, her voice low and pleading. "I can't live without you. After the baby's born, we can go back to how things were. Just thinking about a future without you makes me unable to sleep. Ethan, did you ever love me? From beginning to end?" I cut her off sharply. "Did you ever think about me when you were enjoying yourself under Adrian?" Her face flushed with embarrassment. Her lips trembled, like she wanted to defend herself, but it was as if her throat was blocked. She couldn't say a word. I pointed at the lunchbox on the table. "Take it and leave. Stop obsessing over meaningless crap." Seeing I was clearly kicking her out, she asked urgently, "Then what do I have to do for you to give up on divorcing me?" That question caught me off guard, because I'd never once thought about giving up the divorce. The moment she aborted our child, this marriage was already dead in everything but name. Seeing me stay silent, Melissa seemed to make up her mind. What if I abort this child?" "There is no what if." I answered instantly. "The moment you aborted our child, our fate was already over." I knew she'd never really do it. Adrian's place in her heart was too deep. He was still alive. There was no way she'd get rid of his child without his approval. She was just fishing, trying to see if I still had even a shred of feeling left. Melissa suddenly broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "I just wanted to leave a child for Adrian. You used to agree to everything I asked. I thought this time you would too." I used to agree to everything. On our 5th anniversary, I had a raging fever that wouldn't go down. She still insisted on celebrating. I booked her favorite restaurant, prepared a surprise with my own hands, and carefully chose the gift she'd always wanted. I waited the whole night. She never came. I eventually fainted alone in that restaurant. She only showed up the next afternoon, casually explaining that Adrian's cat was sick and she'd stayed overnight at his place taking care of it. From start to finish, my feelings never mattered. Melissa was still crying, shoulders shaking, looking pitiful and fragile. In the past, I couldn't stand seeing her cry. The moment her eyes reddened, my heart would shatter. I'd hold her, wipe her tears, and give in every single time. But now I understood, some people never change. I handed her a tissue and placed it in front of her. "Wipe your own tears. You're pregnant. Don't run around. Go back to clear water." "No," she suddenly hugged me. "Don't drive me away, okay?" Her body was warm, carrying that familiar, nostalgic scent. But now all I did was frown. I pushed her away, walked out of the office, and never looked back. What I didn't expect was that, just to avoid the divorce, Melissa would drag me online and publicly expose me. Meanwhile, Adrian kept uploading his anti-cancer videos every single day. With his good looks, tragic story, and stubborn will to live, he quickly pulled in a massive fanbase. At that moment, Adrian was live-streaming while being interviewed by some video channel. Adrian's voice came straight from the phone. "Melissa has done so much for me. I feel extremely guilty." Melissa was wearing the little white dress Adrian had given her, standing right beside him, holding his hand, looking like some picture-perfect couple. Then the reporter shoved the mic toward Melissa and asked sharply, "Miss Melissa, Mr. Adrian said you aborted the 3-month-old child in your belly for him. Is that true? Melissa froze on the spot. She shot a nervous glance at Adrian. Adrian, did you really say that too? Adrian looked at her eagerly. Yes. You've done so much for me. Everyone deserves to know how good you are. Adrian's parents were there too, hyping Melissa up like crazy, saying she was a modern-day bodhisattva saving their family bloodline. Melissa was clearly moved. Her eyes instantly reddened. You really understand how good I am. She looked straight into the camera, steady and serious. Actually, the child wasn't healthy either. After discussing it with my family, I decided to have the surgery. But my husband doesn't understand me. He thinks I deliberately aborted the child and has been pushing for a divorce this whole time. I know he minds. So I decided to use artificial insemination to leave a descendant for Adrian. But I didn't expect that even after making so many concessions, I still couldn't get his forgiveness. Just a few days ago, even though my body was weak, I went to Riverside to make peace with him, but he kicked me out of his office. Ethan, if you're watching this video, please think twice. Don't divorce me, okay? I really love you. Adrian immediately jumped in beside her. Mr. Ethan, Melissa and I are truly innocent. Please don't misunderstand us. Melissa has been crying nonstop since she came back. It breaks my heart every time I see it. I couldn't help rolling my eyes. Adrian had already milked his anti-cancer persona for all it was worth, and now he was trying to stir public opinion again to boost his popularity. And Melissa? Acting like some clueless girl throwing herself into the fire. Too bad they forgot netizens aren't that easy to fool. Despite their twisted story and random BS, the sharp netizens quickly pieced everything together. The comments flooded the live stream. No way. Just because you say the child wasn't healthy doesn't make it true. Where's the medical report? I agree. If the kid was really unhealthy, her husband wouldn't have objected. She clearly hid it. Damn, artificial insemination and you say it's not cheating? This PUA talk is wild. Cheating wrapped in fancy words. Uppening really. Adrian panicked when he saw the comments and hastily ended the live stream with a lame excuse. After watching that whole circus, I sent the screen recording to my lawyer. Evidence that's solid shouldn't go to waste. Even though Adrian's live stream didn't last long, it still blew up. Netizens dug me out, and overnight I became the most famous cuckold on the internet. The looks my colleagues and clients gave me were a weird mix of pity and, yeah, we get it. I had no choice but to post a statement on my personal social media. Currently going through divorce proceedings. I've calmly accepted everything. Congratulations to them on having a precious child, and I wish them an early marriage. Not long after I posted it, Melissa's father called. Ethan, Melissa got so mad at you she ended up in the hospital. Come back right now. Honestly, I didn't want to bother with them. Adrian was more than enough to keep her company in the hospital. But with the second court hearing coming up and quite a few people wanting to see the house, I packed my bags and went back early. With my lawyer, I went straight to the hospital. When I arrived, Melissa's father stopped me outside the ward, clearly unhappy. I'm not trying to scold you, but Melissa just had an abortion and now she's pregnant again. Don't you feel even a bit sorry for her? I glanced at him and replied flatly, Uncle, don't you know the child she's carrying belongs to someone else? Melissa's father was completely stunned, staring at me blankly. My lawyer quickly pulled him aside and explained everything. Only then did realization hit him. Melissa had been lying to them all along. Helplessness flashed across his face. He looked at me and said, I'm sorry. I didn't know. I raised my hand to stop him and walked into the ward. Melissa's mother was feeding her porridge. Husband. The moment Melissa saw me, she instantly put on a pitiful look. The doctor said I rushed things too much, so the embryo implantation isn't very stable. I've also been cyberbullied recently and I'm really anxious. It might affect the baby. What does that have to do with me? I said calmly, nodding once. Then you should get more rest. Melissa's mother exploded. She slapped the hospital bed and stood up glaring at me. Do you have any idea how much Melissa has suffered since marrying you? When she had the abortion, your mother had just passed away. We understood why you weren't there. But now she's pregnant again and you're still absent. Are you even a man? I shot her a sideways glance. Auntie, what man could accept his wife carrying another man's child? Melissa's mother instantly turned into a lit stick of dynamite. She pointed at my forehead and yelled, "You can't even control your own wife and you're blaming others?" I was done beating around the bush. I only blame myself for not divorcing Melissa earlier. If I had, my mother wouldn't have been so angry she died. Melissa, if you still care even a little about our 7 years together, sign the divorce papers when court's in session in a few days. Ethan, do you really have to be this heartless? Melissa stared at me in disbelief, her voice trembling. Is our 7-year marriage really ending just like that? You can't blame your mother's death on me. Her life was already at its end. I took a deep breath, forcing myself to stay calm. Melissa, it's not that I'm heartless. You were never serious about this marriage. The moment you aborted the child without my consent, you should have known there was no chance left for us. I remembered when Adrian first came back to the country. Melissa became completely obsessed, always finding excuses to be alone with him, taking care of him down to every tiny detail. I also remembered that time work stress wrecked my health so badly I could barely function. I called her, hoping she'd come back and take care of me. Instead, she told me she was having dinner with Adrian and told me to look after myself. That moment felt like my heart was ripped apart. I'd never felt so lonely or helpless. There were countless moments like that, each one like a knife slowly stabbing my heart, grinding away my trust and feelings. The child was just the final straw. If you're bothered by Adrian's existence, don't worry. He's dying. He only has half a year left. Happy now. Melissa stiffened, panic flashing across her face. It went from pale to red as she defended herself in a shaky, rushed voice. If I had a choice, I'd definitely let our child be born first. But Adrian only has half a year left. He can't wait. Can't you understand me? You can only divorce me over my dead body. At that point, I was both amused and pissed off. I completely lost any patience to argue with her anymore. Melissa, don't think that just because you're pregnant I can't touch you. Worst case scenario? After the kid's born, I'll apply for a paternity test. Once the results come out, the judge will still sign off on our divorce. After saying that, I turned around and walked out. Before the second trial, the lawyer submitted the latest evidence we'd gathered. This time, Melissa had nowhere to run. She could only admit that the child in her belly was Adrian's. Judge, what I did was a good deed. Why are you siding with Ethan? But why can't any of you understand me? Everyone in the courtroom stared at her like she'd completely lost it. The moment I got the divorce certificate, I couldn't help but let out a long breath. Relief, finally. Melissa, on the other hand, stared at the paper in her hand, blank and dazed, like her soul had checked out. She tried to smile but only managed a bitter, ugly one. I feel like a joke, she said. I used to think no matter how badly I acted, you'd forgive me. But now... Her voice cracked, tears pooling in her eyes. I couldn't help but sneer. Love is supposed to be equal. No one should have to burn their whole life down for someone else. Melissa opened her mouth to say more, but I picked up my phone and waved it in front of her. I'm busse. I'm leaving. She stared at my retreating back, probably still unable to accept that I wasn't orbiting around her anymore. It took me a week to say goodbye to Clearwater. I'd once stayed here because of Melissa. Now I was leaving for the exact same reason. While packing, I found the little sweater my mom had carefully knitted for the baby who was never born. I broke down instantly. Looking back, everything had changed. The night before I left Clearwater, I gathered all my friends to celebrate my rebirth, my freedom. The friends who drifted away because of Melissa hugged me hard when they saw me. Bro, long time no see. Congrats on getting your freedom back. Finally ditched that shackle. This divorce is a win. You deserve better. That night, they said all the stuff they'd never dared to say before. I laughed at myself too, using jokes to cover up all the stupid crap I'd done over the years. After dinner, no one wanted to stop, so they suggested hitting another spot. I had nothing holding me back now, so I led everyone to the most famous KTV in Clearwater. In the lobby, we ran into Adrian, who was supposedly in the hospital. He was hugging a young woman like they were glued together, not a hint of the dying man from the live stream. He froze when he saw me, then quickly pulled himself together and walked past like nothing happened. My friends stopped and stared. Damn, dude's about to die and still picking up girls? Is it really that romantic to die under a woman's skirt? I'd originally thought about privately warning Melissa, but I dropped the idea fast. Respect other people's fate. Don't mess with their karma. After returning to Riverside, I dove straight into hardcore work mode. Friends from Clearwater kept checking in, either trying to set me up or gossiping about Melissa. What happened that night still got back to her. She had a massive fight with Adrian in the hospital. Adrian thought he had her completely wrapped around his finger and stopped pretending altogether. I'm practically dying. You expect me to stay loyal? Are you kidding? I'm not some idiot like Ethan. Don't you get how important it is to live for today? Go home and take care of your pregnancy. If anything happens to my precious child, I'll hold you responsible. Even Adrian's parents flipped their attitude and started yelling at Melissa. What's wrong with a man having a little fun outside? As long as he has you in his heart, that's enough. Honestly, this is your fault. You didn't serve him well. Melissa got so angry she was rushed to there, and she lost the baby. Because she'd had 2 induced abortions in a short time, she completely lost the ability to become a mother. When I heard that, I could only sigh. Back then, when Adrian dumped Melissa, it was because her family was poor. He turned around and chased a senior schoolmate from a good family, even though she looked average. Later, after that girl dumped him and he saw Melissa living better than him, he crawled back and squeezed every benefit out of her. Melissa never learned. She ignored my advice and, despite being married, got involved with Adrian again. There's a saying, what's scarier than a first love is a first love that crawls back from the grave. After learning Adrian didn't have much time left, Melissa cried herself to sleep every night. That's when I realized Adrian mattered way more to her than I ever did. But now Adrian hurt her again, deep, bone-cutting pain. The next time I saw Melissa was 2 months later. When the receptionist led me downstairs, she was already surrounded by a crowd. Melissa was wearing the wedding dress I'd bought her, holding a bouquet of roses. The scene stabbed straight into my memory, the day she proposed to me. Ethan, will you marry me? Ethan, can you forgive me? Past and present overlapped. The only thing unchanged was that Melissa was still the one speaking. She walked through the crowd toward me, her face glowing with hope. Ethan, give me another chance to love you. I said nothing. Just looked at her. Suddenly, Melissa dropped to one knee and slowly raised the ring. After everything, I finally realized you're the only one I can truly rely on. I know I hurt you badly, and I know I can never make up for it. But for the sake of our years together, please forgive me once. Give me a chance to atone. I swear I'll love you the way you loved me. Please marry me again. Her actions moved the crowd. People started chiming in. Son, she's being so sincere. Don't be so cold. When life and death are involved, nothing else matters. Seize the moment. I sneered. They didn't know I'd lost 2 people I loved in one single day. And now the culprit stood there, playing the moral high ground, trying to guilt-trip me with public opinion. We're already divorced, I said calmly. Go home. Thanks for finally realizing how much I gave you over the years. Too bad it's all too late. Suddenly I felt something cold. Raindrops. The sky darkened without warning, rain pouring down. The crowd scattered fast, and soon only Melissa and I were left standing in the square, soaked. The bouquet in her hand was drenched. Petals smeared with mud, stripped of their beauty. That bouquet was just like our love. The moment it was soaked by the rain, all the beautiful memories, like those withered petals, slowly faded away with the wind. Then, is there really no chance for us anymore? Melissa asked, her voice breaking. Rain mixed with tears ran down her face, smearing her once clear features. I stayed quiet for a moment, then finally nodded, powerless. It's over between us. You need to let go of the past and face your future properly. A flicker of pain crossed Melissa's eyes. She slowly squatted down, the hem of her wedding dress sinking into the mud, looking lonely as hell. I watched her, emotions tangled up inside me. We had once loved each other deeply, but her betrayal made everything beyond fixing. Good. So you really had an affair behind my son's back. A furious voice cut through the rain. A middle-aged couple holding an umbrella rushed toward us. Melissa went pale and quickly stood up, hiding behind me. They were Adrienne's parents. I was shocked they'd followed her all the way to Riverside. Adrienne's mother stepped forward, grabbed Melissa hard, and glared at us like she wanted to kill someone. Your husband is lying in a hospital bed waiting for someone to take care of him, and here you are flirting with your ex-husband. Adrienne's father didn't speak, but the look he gave Melissa was full of disgust. Melissa winced in pain, yet her hands still clutched the hem of my coat tightly. Ethan, save me. They want to take me back. I frowned and pulled out my phone, ready to call the police. Adrienne's father slapped it out of my hand and pointed at me threateningly. This is our family business. Stay out of it. I turned to Melissa. Do you want me to call the police? She hesitated, glancing at me. It'd be really bad if this goes to the police station. Adrian would be so sad if he found out. I let out a bitter smile. Even now, she was still worried about Adrienne's feelings. All right, I'll leave first. I gently pushed her hand away and walked toward the building entrance. Her crying echoed behind me, but I ignored it and went straight into the elevator. Melissa was taken back to Clearwater by Adrienne's parents. She had to feed Adrian, wipe his body, and take care of all his bathroom needs. During that time, Melissa's parents came to the hospital and tried to force her home. But this time, she refused them outright, saying she'd take care of Adrian until the day he died. You're unbelievable, her mother snapped, poking her forehead angrily. You couldn't handle even a bit of hardship when you were with Ethan. Now look at you working like a free nurse. Melissa broke down. What choice do I have? He won't agree to a divorce. What am I supposed to do? She covered her face and cried. I know I was wrong, but there's no cure for regret. If I don't take care of him, he'll expose me online and let everyone tear me apart. Her parents left in a rage. Melissa stayed behind, serving Adrian like a slave. On the day Adrian died, Melissa sent me a message. I went to the cemetery to visit Auntie and said sorry again and again. Sorry. I wish you happiness. I didn't reply. I deleted the message. 3 years later, I brought my wife, 5 months pregnant, back to Clearwater to visit my mother's grave. Sophia gently stroked her belly and said softly, Mom, Ethan told me you knitted these baby clothes. They're all so beautiful. I stood beside her, brushing a stray strand of hair from her forehead. Mom, Sophia treats me really well. Don't worry. As we were leaving, we ran into Melissa. She stood there holding a bouquet of flowers, staring blankly at the hands Sophia and I were tightly holding. I pulled Sophia aside. Careful, wife. Watch your belly. At my words, Melissa's eyes filled with tears. She slowly walked into the cemetery. Melissa, I called out softly. Thank you for coming to visit my mom so often. But she told me in a dream that you were disturbing her. Melissa froze. After a long silence, she said quietly, Okay, this will be the last time. After that, Melissa never went to the cemetery again. My mother finally had peace. She stopped appearing in my dreams. The only time I dreamed of her again was the day my child was born. She was holding a baby, waving at me from afar. Son, she said, I'm taking this poor little one to be reincarnated. Take good care of yourself.